Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FPL Milan!
This Walsh.
Ooh, good to hear that sound.
It's good to be back.
Juices are flowing.
Amongst friends and fellow degenerates.
All the degens are out. I can't believe we're the last ones to pod. Usually we're probably the first ones to pod.
In terms of what? Other pods?
Just like other pods. You know, we're getting old, dude.
Yeah, wouldn't know. Don't care.
All I see in like Discord, Twitter, YouTube, it's like, you know, fucking blah, blah, blah's team reveal. Like all this clickbait shit, like best underpriced players. Like, oh my God, like fucking blah, blah, blah is going no Salah. I'm just like, it used to be the best day of the fucking year when the prices came out. And now I'm just like, get away from me. Everyone fucking die and get away from me.
You just have to insulate yourself against the disaster class that is the FPL community. Except for our beautiful, well-cultured and fine-tuned listeners, obviously excluded from the FPL community.
Thank God.
Because we're a lifestyle community. Different.
Yes.
Big difference.
It's just thank everything holy for them because, you know, we're a dying breed over here.
That said, we're going to leak our RMT teams 4 players at a time over the course of the next 5 days with 10-minute pods and 5-minute ads in each pod.
Every day from now until the start of the season, I'm going to do a new team reveal with a new player, draft.
New spot on each. The 4.5 defender is ... That said, speaking of ads, we are jacking up the ads. So
we are ads up the ass right now.
Yeah, that's up. That's what's up. So if you don't like the ads, then give us some money.
Yeah, if you don't like ads, subscribe to us on Patreon. The episodes will come out first on Patreon with no ads. They'll come out afterwards with ads. I'm gonna do a little sound.
We're so tasteless.
Oh, I mean,
oh my God,
we're just selling out.
We're such American capitalists.
Yeah, fucking every pod has ads. I don't know, but you'll hear this sound right before an ad break starts, and you'll hear this sound when an ad break ends. And I'll insert that in post. Walsh is like, "What the fuck are you doing right now?" Anyway, dude, how was your little break?
It was good. We went in Hawaii for a couple of weeks. That was really fun and enjoyable with one of my good friends who's a big-time arse caster. So that was fun to talk about.
Big Kai friend of the pod.
Yeah, Kai and all the things. So yeah, chilling, but everything's good. Smooth, cruising, summer. How about you?
Is the kid in some sort of camp or day camp? Yeah, okay.
Full, same schedule. I mean, if he's not in camp, we're just fucking forget about it.
What did people do before camp? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Camp and iPads.
Don't want to think about it.
Yeah, good. I secured the new apartment. Be moving in right after the Premier League season returns. That'll just be a low stress week overall. More work has been secured. Good to be back. Ready to pod. Should also mention our schedule. First fireside chat of the season was supposed to be tomorrow morning. Instantly canceled me, fucked me really hard after booking it a month ago. So you hate to see it, but we still have a bunch of firesides to go. I think most weeks, except this one, will have at least one fireside come out. And then other than that, Walsh and I will just be doing normal schedule, record Monday nights, premium assets, then mid-price assets, then budget assets, and then Game Week 1 pod. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Bread and butter.
Butter my
Back
bread. To it. What the fuck are we doing this episode, though? Because this is
we're chatting FPL like the old days.
We're just getting back into the swing of things. It's basically the text thread all over again.
Yeah. So how have you been engaging with the game since it came out?
Well, like I said, I mean, just all of the everything surrounding it has just put me off so much.
Yeah.
Like, I like open a thing and everyone's arguing about which 4-0 defender. I'm just like, this just doesn't matter. Like, everyone's with their fucking hot takes and who fucking cares, dude? It's a month away from the season. There hasn't been a single preseason minute yet. There's transfer windows still open.
But because you're never in Discord.
No, I'm in Discord all the time.
Dude, no one's bitching and moaning and arguing about 4-0 defenders. They're just having a conversation about it.
Okay, I don't mean bitch and moaning. I just mean the conversation doesn't interest me. That's my level of engagement. You know, I click through the prices. I'm more and more through our last 8 years of the pod. I just feel like I'm getting more and more always into football and that kind of stuff, less and less into like a month away from the season trying to plan my FPL team when like there's nothing, you know, obviously the prices matter, but there's no preseason. The season feels so far away to me still. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I like playing around with the team. I like tinkering and I like seeing the combination. So I always do that. You know, I mean, passively, like I'll make just my first thought team. And then, you know, that's how I like to play preseason is think about like, okay, well, I could do these 3 players. I could turn it into these 3 like these 3 spots can be these 3 spots, or what's the sacrifice, or what do I prefer? So I do that. You know, I like thinking about that all the time before I go to bed, when my eyes are closed on the pillow, you know, when I'm wanking, when I'm, you know, in between the sheets with the missus. It's just that's running through my head. Do I want sun or not? Like, well, you know, that's
kind of a good price. Yeah. Talk me into it. Talk me out of it.
So I've been playing around with that and just thinking too about, you know, the pod and what we're going to talk about, and you know, things that we talked about in the postmortem that still apply, no longer apply, somewhat apply. You know. Yeah.
How strictly are you holding yourself to the postmortem notes?
I think
so far
0%.
Okay, so Ollie's not on your team. 4 or 5 keepers not on your team.
Well, no, I mean not 0%. Like there are a few things. I mean, Ollie is still I'm playing with in and around, but I think, and I'm still looking at relatively cheap defense. But I think the biggest difference is that we did our postmortem assuming that they were going to just price the game like they normally do. And they didn't. So we have to adjust. We have to adjust accordingly. And that means, you know, searching for the value in it and where is it, right? So it's in different places this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we, to a T, nailed Haaland, Kane, and Mo exact prices. And we've been shouting Trent should be 8 for 4 or 5 seasons straight now. They finally did it. And then almost everyone else is like $1 million-ish less than we thought they'd be.
Yeah.
And that is fucking weird. What do you think is going on there? Yeah, at least $1 million. Some or more.
Yeah, I mean, they just want more people getting the players they like in their teams. You know, it's that simple. I think it's just the concession for, you know, pricing Haaland the number that he is. You know, they don't want you to be dumpster diving for 5-5 midfielders like they wanted you to do, you know, 6 years ago in the game. It's just a different game.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what's going on this year, and that's fine. You know, there are a lot of really good picks in that, you know, what we used to kind of call like upper mid tier. I don't know, whatever the, you know, vocabulary word you want to use, but that, you know, that 8-5 region of price in forward and midfield.
Really good. Also the 4-5s in defense are just like so good.
Yeah, which they've been doing that. I mean, that's not new. They've been having a 4-5. I mean, last year all the Arsenal defenders were 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, they were like the 6th or 5th best team, right? They weren't coming off like second best or first best defensive performance in the season.
Are you talking about just Botman specifically?
Botman, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's one or two that you could certainly point to. But I think just more broadly speaking, there have been 4 or 5 defenders that are not, you know, I mean, back when we were getting into the game, the 4 or 5 defenders were on just like the bottom 5 teams. The 3 there weren't really good options, you know. They were really just kind of generally just bad. And I think last year, you know, and I mean, I don't remember the year before as well, but I feel like there have been 4 or 5 defender options for a while now. And, you know, I think that's still the case. But even in defense, you know, I think that they priced generally, $500,000 lower than they should have in many instances, right? But
it's just so weird that they did that across the board, and Trent is still 8. Trent is the highest he's ever been. And right, they do. It's the same with Mo. It's the same with Kane. It's the same with Haaland. It's like those two things don't seem to line up to me. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Mo's less than he was last year.
Yeah, but 0.5 off the worst season of his career, right? And
but
it's just weird. I mean, it's just really weird when you sort even just the fucking page. It's like Mo's 12.5, Kev's 10.5, no other double digits.
Well, I was more because when they started releasing the prices, like in the little one at a time that they were doing, and they were putting all these guys at like free, I thought Kev was going to be 9.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be super. So I mean, that was if anything, the most surprising to me was Kevin's price, that he's 10.5, because I mean, he just shouldn't be based on everyone else's price. He's going to be in no teams.
No teams.
Which is an interesting, I mean, I guess unless Haaland gets hurt, maybe that's their insurance there. They just want to do that. But
that's
the pricing's whether you like it or not, it is what it is. And, if it's better for the game, worse for the game, I mean, we could talk about that for a couple hours, but I don't know if
it's really not interesting to me at all to talk about that. Yeah, I mean,
I think it's more like, with the prices that we have, what do we do now? Because the game is different than
and it depends what happens, which is like the beauty of the game, right? Like they could price everyone in the game could be fucking 6 million, and we'd be sitting here saying, "Oh my god, the game is so fucking broke," and you just pick this guy, this guy, and then game week 5 we'd still be wild carding because we would have gotten 60% of our team wrong. Like that's the beauty of football, right? It's like we think everything's really easy and every pick picks itself and blah 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 blah, but that's just never ever going to be the case. So I don't really give a shit about that conversation. So where should we? Do you want to talk about some of your tinkers? Who have been the mainstays? Would you say?
I mean, still 4-5 goalie. That's pretty certain. I'm
with you there. Who do you like?
I've been looking at like Johnstone, and then if Brighton, if Brighton gets sorted out, which I don't really think it will. I don't know. I think Steele might keep playing, but I think going to be iffy. And then I think maybe Brentham, if Raya goes and Flecken's starting. I mean, those are kind of the two that I'm really. And then I mean, I have some type of background fuckfording.
Yeah, these are all the same guys I have on my list.
Those are the names I'm considering, and and then Areola is also a big question mark. Coming in at 4, we just don't know yet. So that's something we have to kind of look at as the preseason unfolds. If Moyes gives us any indication there, but I mean, if he's playing, you could go back to the Ward strat of 8 million at goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, West Ham have really, really bad fixtures to start out with. They're at Bournemouth. For cleans, they're at Bournemouth, home Chelsea, at Brighton, at Luton, home City, at Liverpool, first 6. That's like one clean. That's probably one clean. So maybe that's one that you want to back into on wild card because, they get some tough ones out of the way there in the first 6. But, I still like a lot of, I think that those are plenty of good options in those names that, I'm going to be happy settling on that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think there are plenty good enough options that I'll be happy there. And we haven't even mentioned like the promoted teams or whatever. There's other Leno, whatever, guys that I'm not interested in, but are still options at the 4-5 price. You're not going to go Ederson out the gate? 5-5, not bad.
I don't need to re-traumatize myself immediately. Game week 1.
So Ollie, you were 9-5 or under. He's an auto in your team. But as we mentioned, everyone's 1 to 1.5 million cheaper than expected. So he's basically the equivalent of 9.5 because he's 8.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a very good chance I start with him. I think he's things that he has, he's been in and out. I mean, the thing that he has going against him is certainly the fixtures. I mean, 3 aways in the first 4, at Newcastle, home Everton, at Burnley, at Liverpool. He doesn't have any bad fixtures because even in those bad ones, and air quotes bad on paper bad, he's still counterattacking a lot.
Yeah, they're good at countering.
Yeah, I mean, main man, whatever. I mean, he's still good, but I mean, Nkunku is someone I'm really interested in. I know you were putting some damp much water or whatever on that. And I saw it when I wasn't around. Someone was telling me.
As opposed to not damp water.
Yeah, well, it could be damp. It could be vibrant,
So tell me what you love about him. I'm nowhere near him right now.
Yeah. I mean, the with the Chelsea thing, right, is as we were talking about in post-mortem, like, yes, they are all, Raz at 7 million. It's just, insane. That's difficult to stay away from. There's a lot of difficult to stay away from aspects about Chelsea. The issue I keep coming up to is in my just mind palace constructing is there's so much risk with any of these situations for game week 1 because the players are all brand new with a new coach and a new system. So are they going to hit the ground running or are they going to stutter and have a difficult time? Likely, right? It's going to be in the middle of both of those. But my thing with Nkunku is I just feel like he's like 3 million too cheap. I feel like he was 10 million or something in Champions League fantasy, and he was in every team. Yeah. He was in every team, like captain in every team on one of the days. For him to be 7.5 at the same price as just mid-table strikers seems obscene to me. I don't really care what his position on the team sheet says. If he's behind the striker, behind Jackson or whatever, and I don't fucking care. This is a literal world-class player. At 7.5, it just seems ridiculous, like a ridiculous joke to me to not have him, even though they're Liverpool first and they have all these things that need to be sorted through. That's kind of my thing of how I'm viewing him right now. I could easily see myself not starting with him.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I care a lot what his position is, and we'll maybe get a better idea of that in preseason, see if they buy someone else, maybe, who knows. But yeah, I don't expect him to play striker, so we're getting a reverse out of position player. He could be on pens because no Jorginho, no Kai, no Mount, who knows? But yeah, this team is just like such a fucking mess. And I just don't really expect them to start hot out the gates with the amount of changeover and the drastically different change of tactics and everyone who's been there playing out of position or not out of position, but in a new position from what they're used to, and no midfield. They just have no midfield. I'm just worried about this team, even how good actually are they? It's like, it's really hard for me to separate the individual players because I can go through this roster and just be like, love this guy, love this guy, love this guy, potential. And then I look as a collective and I'm like comparing them to other good teams. I'm like, this team's just not that good,
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like a wait and see. Sterling, you mentioned, is like way more interesting to me than Nkunku out the gate. 0.5 cheaper, more points for goals. We know the whole mid spiel, clean, whatever. And he's not old yet. He feels old because he started in the Prem when he was fucking 16 or 17. But I don't think he's done. He just had a really bad season. But everyone on Chelsea had a really bad season. And I still think he's a really good attacker. And there's not really any reason I can tell that, he's not fucking Son's age. He's not, falling off a cliff as far as I can tell. And so I'm like, that's a more interesting guy to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're both, to me, equivalency and interest. I don't know. Whatever you want to say. But with Nkunku, though, it's also reverse out of position is, say that is the case. And he's not going to be playing 9 unless if it's some weird thing that he's doing. But we've seen that not necessarily be bad, especially for players like him, because he gets bonus points now. He's the kind of player that if he is a midfielder would maybe never get bonus points. And now, his goals might be worth 6 instead of 5, something like that. So I'm not really dinging him too much for that prospect. And I do think he's going to be on pens looking at this team.
I don't know.
I can't imagine anyone else taking pens off him. So that's also something
fucking, there could be some rant. You never know.
It could be Enzo on pens. You don't know.
Unless you're a Liverpool fan, you don't know that secretly Fabinho has been our best pen taker since he's shown up there. It's like random players can just be amazing at pens.
Yeah, that's fair for sure. I mean, there's again where this is a month before the season. We have no preseason games or info.
We'll know a lot more.
Yeah, we'll know a lot more.
He could pop off in preseason, take a pen. He's in 50% of the teams before game week 1. That's super possible.
Yeah, I agree with you completely about your sentiment of looking at all these individuals on the team and being like, I like a lot of, if not most of these players a lot individually, but as a unit, it's hard to see how it functions. But I also just believe in Poch, even though he's had a couple of, maybe shaky years. But I think this is a really good situation for him to come in and, mold young players and play a football and get them to buy in. Like we saw that at Spurs, and I feel like this is a really good tailor-made position for him to kind of drop back in and make some magic happen. But again, game week 1, no, this is a collection of strangers mostly. Yeah. So, there's a lot of risk there. Even with Raz, a little cheaper, whatever, this thing has more pedigree and thing. I mean, I do think Nkunku is a world-class player. And, I really, really love him and believe in him as a player. So, we'll see what preseason does to dissuade me. But I do like him a lot.
I've only seen him a little bit in the Champions League and just highlights of him in Bundesliga. But I am also worried that, obviously, like the Bundesliga attacks, like Haaland kind of shoved that up everyone's ass last year. But every other player basically has suffered from their attacking numbers. And to me, he's just like the exact prototypical type of player who would like take 20% off his numbers or something. Because it's just like every goal, it's just like, oh, it's a 4v2 counter for Leipzig. And it's like, tapping in the box type of thing. And I'm just like, this is not going to happen. But
yeah, there's some of that for sure. I don't know. I just think he's really good. I mean, he had it against City in the Champions League.
And he might take set pieces too.
Yeah, he's good. He's just a good player.
Yeah.
Good player. Yeah. So, they're not going to have 4-on-2 fast break counterattacks like that necessarily as much, but he has, a collection of really good players around him. So we just have to see how it fits. But so, he's someone I'm interested in. So that's also back to the Watkins question, like a direct competitor. So, I mean, that is pretty, and then it's, if I even have anyone in that bracket, I might drop down to 6 million, thinking about, Wissa or, maybe DCL if he's fit, I could see that happening. I don't think it will, but I could see it happening because that's 6 is, still for any starting striker.
It's crazy.
Who's not, it's really cheap.
The price is like, I don't want to keep being like, oh, they fucked up the prices, but like, why is DCL and Wissa 6? And then there's like, Dom is 6'5". Like,
good question.
It's completely idiotic. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it's pretty arbitrary, but it, whatever. It's just 0.5. It's not break it, but I know it's not coherent, but so I'm interested in maybe something like that. If I do want to get money out of that spot, I'm not sure, but those were sort of the names I was looking at. In forward, I mean, Haaland I have in obviously, but
me too.
I have definitely been playing around with no Haaland teams too. I don't think it's that.
That's scary as hell.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that crazy. So
I think it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it depends what you want out of your season.
Yeah, the first opening fixtures are a little bit mixed bag. For City, it certainly would be making a big bet or a big gamble, but I mean, until you start playing around with what you can do without him, I mean, he's 14, he's 14 and there are 4 midfielders who should be priced at 10.5 and they're not. So, the team you can create with Mo instead of Haaland, or, I mean, I think Kane is insane, but even just for argument's sake, Kane, it goes far, it really does.
I wonder, if any of the past guys who got the 14 price hike, right? Like RVP.
Yeah. Henry, I think, was 14.
Yeah, Henry.
Before we played.
There are other guys. Was Rooney 1 year? No.
I don't think so.
But regardless, did any of those guys fulfill it? Like, were any of them in the end like by far the highest point scorer, or were they just because everyone's priced on what they did last season, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought, but
yeah, it's just difficult to start your season going against that when the number. I mean, it's, as of right now, is 85% of teams.
What the fuck even is that?
Yeah, like you don't. I mean, he had 37, or he had 47 returns, 45 returns last year, and he didn't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he's up to. Can he improve on that? Is that his ceiling? Is he going to fall down a little bit from that?
Yeah,
who knows? I mean, it's just, but it's less of me thinking he's bad or something like, oh, he's definitely not going to do as well.
Of course,
it's more of from the game strategy standpoint. Is that a smart thing to do, or is that just complete recklessness and foolhardiness to do that initially?
Well, also because it's like, I mean, what percent of your budget is that? I mean, it's like 17% of your budget or something like that. A 14 million starter, right? Because you have a bench and a backup keeper and shit.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. Just a fucking lot.
Yeah.
But it's hard to not.
Well, oh, for sure. And what it does, right, is when you have every team has him and every team has him captained, is that it really becomes a game of 10, John. And how do you feel about out-10ing the field of 10? That's what the game is versus not doing that.
So should I clickbait the title of this pod and just be like, no Haaland? Exclamation point.
I don't. I think it's just something. As always, we have a month before the game starts. I think it's. I'm not advocating for this, but it's just something. Yeah. I think when you're playing around with your team, just to consider, what's the best case, what's the worst case, what's the use case, and just to look at those opening few games and think about how do you imagine them playing out? They have the thing midweek between game week 1 and 2, like they already have fucking rotation shit going on.
I know, and, we're like, oh, there's not going to be blanks. They literally already have a blank for the Club World Cup or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 promoted teams away within the first 3 game weeks. You can make your own story of that. Are they going to bend over, or are they going to be, it's going to be so insane in there, it's facing City at home in the first month of the season, that it's going to be a really difficult game. And I don't know, it's just, I mean, these are the exercises that, we play the game and you're listening to this podcast, I think it's negligent to just be, oh yeah, of course, Haaland, never think about it again.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yep. And that's honestly what I think both of us find interesting. Right, is that it's a fresh canvas. We know nothing, and nothing should be taken for granted.
Yeah, I mean, like Haaland, right? Let's continue playing this out, like making the case. He finished the season really badly. So was that because he was dead ass tired because he's never played that many games in his life? Is that because City were rotating so heavily that they just had kind of hodgepodge 11s every game and their plan wasn't working, or? Which is the thing that, no one's really talked about. Maybe opposing managers figured out something, and they noticed a way to shut him down. I mean, he didn't score against Arsenal last year. Arteta contained him very well, easily. Maybe not easily, but, maybe
he scored against
happening.
Arsenal.
Didn't he? Not in the league,
in the second game when they really fucked them.
They fucked them? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking out of my ass about that. Maybe Sammy's still in my ear.
But he still did end the season poorly, especially I think in those final Champions League games. I mean, he didn't play in the final or against Madrid. Like he did nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that, who knows? Maybe he starts really slow because every team is doing this, like putting the 6, keeping the center back really high on him and just fucking fouling the shit out of him. And he starts getting pissy and this happens and that happens and he's getting no space. I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those. So, when you can take someone like your 14 million player and then spread that around to, instead of having 2 punts, your 2 punt spots and Haaland, it's 3 premium picks. Sure, captain's scary. You can't miss on captain really when Haaland bangs a brace because he'll bang plenty of them, right? That's. Yeah. But it's just it's fun to think about.
I mean, there's so many factors. I mean, Last season's also the most minutes he's ever played in his career, any season.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who gets hurt for fun.
Yeah.
You know, and so did he run out of juice? I mean, usually that's a big thing. People like reaching their minutes heights, you know, like staying fit for an entire year when they're never fit ever, playing the most matches they've ever played by a lot. You know, those fucking like Salzburg years, some seasons he would play like fucking 14 games.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that could just be, yes, that's if you're a Haaland backer and that's what you want to believe is that, yes, he did. And he's still a kid, and he's going to grow in from that. And he's going to he had that experience in his body. And, we saw Pep managing him very carefully, in the last few months, he was just not playing every game.
Yeah.
But he's again in my team, probably will be in my team.
Same.
But we'll see. Maybe not.
We'll see. We should
a lot
definitely
over the next month.
We should definitely talk about Arsenal because I mean, I think a lot of the price discussion shit started with Arsenal, and they're just not priced like they're the second best team in the league. They're priced
like the fourth or fifth best team in the league.
They're priced like they're a fringe top 4 team.
Yeah,
and
they're priced like most,
and they've zero premiums.
Yeah, they're priced like 25% of the people that play FPL are Arsenal fans, and they want them to play the game or something like that.
It's really bizarre. I mean, these were by a lot my most surprising prices.
For sure.
It was just what are they doing? I didn't think I was going to start with triple Arsenal, but like I probably should, right?
Yeah. You're probably making a grievous error not to, especially because they have really good fixtures to begin with. They have 3 homes in the first 4, home Forest, at Palace, home Fulham, home United. Then they play Everton, Spurs, which is probably, that's always goals, Bournemouth, whatever, right? So, I mean, they have the pricing and the fixtures. Yeah. I think it's which 3, not should I have 3 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, first 7, you could argue they have like the best fixtures in the league because after that Spurs game, it's at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And that's before they play Man City. So, it's a switch 3. I mean, they're all price friendly. Jesus is 8, Odegaard, Saka 8.5, Martinelli's 8, Kai 7.5.
Mid.
I mean, White is 5.5, which probably no one's going to get him, but Gab, Saliba, and Zinchenko are 5.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all the defenders should be 5.5, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, the mids are too cheap. So, and I am happy that they put Kai at mid. I mean, he's going to be predominantly playing midfield.
It's better for him also if he is going to become a pick.
Yeah.
Well, so what did Senny, our aforementioned friend, what did Senny say about Kai? Can you give me a little Kai summary?
Complete obsession. It was borderline on, hysterics. But he is basically, his whole Arsenal thing is just that, which is similar to kind of what I was talking about last year is like Xhaka was their biggest surprise, but also their biggest weakness in that, what he was giving them like less than what they needed there. And, with Kai and having these like dueling free eight, everyone keeps talking about these free eights or whatever, but him ghosting into the box is going to be hell for enemies to deal with. He's because he's talking about Odegaard a lot about how he learned how to do that and really sucked at it at the beginning of the year and was scoring most of his goals from outside the box, which, and set really fluky goals. And I was thinking back, I was like, yeah, that tracks. And then he said, as he, Arteta was always telling him, shoot more, go in the box, shoot more, go in the box, shoot.
Arrive.
Yeah, and as he progressed in the season, was doing that more, and he was just unplayable in a lot of those games, as we saw. So, he thinks that Odegaard doing that, Kai can do that it's just going to be, really Martinelli slashing, Jesus picking up decoy, taking up positions everywhere and still being a handful. He just thinks that that's going to unlock and add a dimension to the attack that's going to be, goals coming from everywhere, basically. That's going to make it really difficult to play against. So, with Rice obviously sitting. So, we didn't really talk too much about what he'll do against certain enemy, top 4 versus bottom 10, whatever. and the window's still open and very much. But yeah, he was really he thinks Kai is a great pick. I mean, he thinks Kai's a legitimate pick. But less than Odegaard, Saka. I mean, we've had all this talk before the prices came out.
And he's not a pick. I would say that because he's the cheapest of the attackers, and we're assuming he's going to start at that left 8-10 position.
Yeah,
it's fucking weird. I mean, I'll definitely say that. I think it's a weird way to spend the money. It's weird to play him very out of position. It's weird to just be like, we're attacking we have like 5 forwards basically on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But I also think that he was bought with the mind of when Jesus misses half the games, because he does every year. Yeah. Bang. Same player. He'll play there, do the same thing just as well, if it more or less.
Yeah.
And then they don't really lose that much because that's an added huge boost here.
Huge boost.
It gives them more because look, Man City, what's the blueprint? Why do they win the league every year? They beat every bad team easily all year. They have 6 games a year that are really tough, and they play a different way in those 6 games, and they try to draw. And then they win some, they lose a couple, but they don't lose at Goodison. They don't lose home.
They lose like one a year, right? It's like some Palace weird one, or they draw the weird one. And whatever. But for the most part, it's just a walk in the park game.
Yeah, and until Haaland came in, and sure, we have Pep, but the main reason for that is they have literal goals coming up and out of their fucking ass. All of their players
to never-ending rotation and not lose a fucking step.
Yeah, players are fresh, and he rotates well, and but goals can come from any number of many positions. Whenever they need goal, it's just so. I mean, Arsenal was missing that last year.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
I think they were. I think they needed, and I mean, when Jesus was out, which was half the year. If say Jesus played 3,000 minutes, you're looking at that with Trossard off the bench as probably enough. But, they have more games this year. I mean, I think they really needed a player like Kai in. I think they needed to reinforce with a serious player and not just, Smith Rowe's back. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree they should have spent the money. It's just really a weird fit. And I really, really mostly just can't wait to see what goes down. Because he's never played in midfield. He's never done a lot of the things that he's going to be asked to do, assuming he's playing that position every day. And it's weird.
We have tape on him playing in midfield. Don't you remember back in the day when we would own him and he was fucking idiot at Chelsea. And
he's but I think it's different when he's false nining. But but back then he was like unanimous worst player in the fucking world. Those were the days when it was like, another worst player on the pitch performance from Kai playing,
That's true. I forgot
mid,
that.
I don't know. I'm a little not sure about how they just spent, 160 million.
I love it. I think they're both phenomenal buys. Exactly what they needed. I think it's going to fit really well. I think Arteta is going to just make music as the conductor with this. I think it's going to be great.
I love Kai and I love Rice, and I think individually they're great. I just don't know how much better they make Arsenal, in my opinion.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I really can't wait to find out because it's so interesting the way they set up.
Yeah, I think it's going to just be, because they have so many adaptable pieces. But that's the other thing is they're not going to Man City and playing a fucking Kai at 8.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? So that's what, they're going to be doing.
But what are they doing in that game then?
NFO. I don't know, dude. The window's still open. They'll get some other midfield in. They play Tross.
They're getting Timber, apparently.
Maybe Kai doesn't play. Yeah, Timber plays. They stick an extra guy. Maybe Kai's on the bench for a few games a year, and those are the ones. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But they have Zinchenko can do all these different jobs. He can push up. They just have so many different things they can do. So it's just
when I look back on last season, and it's like when the slide started, which was with Saliba, it wasn't just when Saliba went down, it was the defense, right? They just started conceding tons of chances nonstop, just getting sliced open on the break. And Rice is better than Partey, but Partey's really good. And Kai won't offer any more like midfieldery stuff than Xhaka, even though he's more athletic. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, we're way veering off from FPL
this
land.
is a digression.
Where we're probably both gonna have 3 Arsenal players in our team.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been on
matter.
Saka. I mean, Saka's the obvious one.
I feel like Martinelli's the obvious one.
Really, I haven't been near a Martinelli because I've had Odegaard. You know, I love Odegaard. And then
he's just half a mil cheaper. He's a fucking dog fest. 15 goals, 9 assists last year. Like, he's their best goal scorer. He's the best goal scorer at the club.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. I don't know. I just feel like Odegaard is he's a god. I think he's a fucking god.
Yeah, he's really fucking good. And so is Saka. I'm not trying to say they're not, but I just feel like, I don't know, 0.5, early season, that matters a lot. I don't know. I mean, I just like the slashing goal scorer. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I haven't really played with not having Odegaard. He was one of the first names I put in.
Yeah.
I just love him, from, going back to last year. So I think that's probably a 0.5 I'm not going to snip. I mean, there's a world where I could see maybe trying to get Martinelli also and going 3 mids, depending on how things shake.
Triple attack is not unreasonable. I don't think, even though the defenders are cheap.
Yeah.
Really
I think that you just
crazy.
get more bang for your buck with the defender because there aren't a million defenders I like, and there are attackers I like.
There's so many defenders I like that are just as cheap, if not cheaper, I feel like.
Yeah, I've had a hard time with that defense.
Okay.
Because the fixtures are odd in the beginning of the season. That's the thing I've noticed.
We'll obviously keep talking about Arsenal as the preseason continues.
Yeah.
What else should we talk about?
Well, I mean, the Man United too, right? I mean, we touch a Rash at 9. So I mean, my midfield. I mean, I could play around, but with the names or whatever. But I have Odegaard, Saka, Bruno, Rash, and Son. So they're all 8, 5,
Odegaard,
or 9
Saka,
players.
Bruno, Rash, and Son. Wow. Okay.
So I don't have Mo right now, which is very easy to get Mo in. But I mean, it's just where I see the value in the game this year is this right there, like that area. Right. All these players should be, at least 10 to me.
Right.
So that's kind of.
I mean, we expected at least 2 of the Arsenal mids to be double digits and Rash to be double digits, and maybe Bruno. Right.
Yeah.
I think if we polled majority of our Discord, it would have been the same. So they're all coming in way underpriced.
Yeah. I think 9.5 would have been
for Rash.
For Bruno would have been what I would have thought probably, and then even then he would be in a lot of if the prices were in that light, like in consideration a lot. But yeah, I mean Rash is. I mean he doesn't. I mean he's just 9 million. I mean when he's fit. He could have a couple bad games and you just rip him out, because we know he's a confidence player. We know if he's not humming, it's very easy to tell. If he is, though, I mean, 9 million is a joke. He is still the main. I think it's you also need to kind of look at and make a decision of who do you think Rashford is? Because, he had that hot run last year.
Yeah.
And then he was hurt. I mean, he was not fit again. He had a tough end of the season, but
there was also the first half of the season where he just was mediocre.
Yeah.
Right.
But that
and
was
then
also
the hot run and then hurt.
But that was also, I mean, how fit was he at the beginning of the season? Like he hadn't played in 2 years. Kind of, right? Like he didn't play much.
The shoulder thing or something like that.
Like he didn't play much 2 years ago.
I mean, he was fit enough to start and play 90 every game, but I don't really know how fit he was. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, to explain performance, I mean, I think you do need to say last year was a really hot year and he's going to fall back. And, what kind of player is he? I still think he's going to easily get 25 returns, assuming fitness, just by nature of his role in the team and adding Mount and with Bruno, and they have a better identity now after a full season of Ten Hag. I just have a hard time seeing him really fall on his face that, he
Yeah,
just
if
feels
he's
at 9
fit,
like a really good
it doesn't make
pick.
that much sense that he would just all of a sudden get like 10 goals and 3 assists. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And they have good fixtures. Home Wolves, at Spurs, which is going to be a good attacking fixture early doors. Home NFO, at Arsenal, home Brighton, at Burnley, home Palace. I mean, those are pretty good. Pretty much.
Yeah, Bruno to me was even more surprising than Rash, I think.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So
I was just like...
See, that his price made like actually more sense to me than Rash's because he's quietly been pedestrian for a while. I mean, he's coming off back-to-back 17 return seasons, quietly.
Yeah, but okay, so he goes...
He's good underlyings, don't get me wrong, but that's not amazing. That's an 8-5 player.
176 points, and he was 10 mil. Is that someone that should go down 1.5 million when the team is like new and, he still literally plays 90 every game and is on pens?
Yeah, no, I mean... Again, to me, he's not 8-5, but I can't, if you stripped away his name and you told me this player got 17 returns in the last 2 seasons playing over 3,000 minutes, what's his price point should be?
Yeah.
I would say probably like 8-5.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, that's what I mean, whether or not he should have air quotes, should have had that many returns or sure, there's mitigating factors. You do what you want there. But I think both of us still believe in the player and, the underlyings and the quality. Yeah. And now that there isn't any diddling on pens and he is on pens for the whole season, you're giving him right there those goals that he missed a lot of goals on that. So, yeah.
And the one season where he really was top 2 FPL pick in the game, they got 10 penalties that year.
Yeah.
They got 2 the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So like all it takes is somewhere in between there, right? Mm-hmm. Give him 5-6 and he is 200 points.
Yeah, definitely.
And
assuming he makes
8
them
fucking
all,
5.
That's also a little questionable, but yeah, 8-5, great pick. I mean, he was one of the first names I put. I mean, he's in pretty much all the teams I see. It's hard to imagine not starting with him with the 8-5 price, but crazy things happen. I could also not have him. Also, I could see not having him.
I think it's a good place that the game is where there's so many guys where I'm just like, good pick. At this point, right? Yeah. Right now. There's so many guys where I'm like, underpriced, good pick, good pick, good pick. Because that means there's going to be more variety, more players that maybe you and I take a chance on or people like us that aren't going to be quote unquote template, whatever, guys that we're seeing that other people aren't maybe. But yeah, I mean, I can't say anything against Bruno and Rash. I think they're great picks. What about Mount? Do you think he's a pick?
I don't.
7 mil.
I don't. I just don't. I always view him as a very lightweight FPL player. I mean, he had that one really good 11-11 season, but relying on set pieces, shoots a lot from distance. I just don't see him as a pick.
We don't know what set pieces he will or won't be on. I don't really know even where he's going to play or what he's going to do, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does, but ultimately he'll be doing some attacking midfield actions.
Yes.
I just don't, at the landscape and the competitiveness of the midfield prices. I mean, you're picking Mount over fucking Raz or Bumo or players that are all these things have all these, what's Mount's best case scenario?
Matoma, even like any of the Brighton guys.
Yeah, there's so many. There's just so many picks. It's hard to imagine Mount as emerging from any of this group. And being in a team doesn't make sense.
A bunch of your glue guys came in at like Gibbs White at 6. I definitely noticed, even though their fixtures are like too bad to start with. Elise 6, but he's hurt. What's the deal?
He's hurt. He like tore something in like the U21 game. He's out. He's gonna be out for like a month or 2 of the season. I think he's really fucked.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's something bad.
Annoying.
Hamstring. It says. I think he like tore
grade 2 or
something. Well, I think the concept of glue is dead. I mean, that in how we talked about it formerly, because you don't need to fit premiums in your team. There aren't any in the game.
But the point of glue is just a guy that is cheap and value and you never need to use a transfer on. Right? That's glue to me. And
but I think the reason why we had that as glue is because we wanted to spend transfers on our premium assets and doing all this funky shit. Yeah. And this year, it's like, that doesn't seem like what the game is this year premiums. To me. Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe you're telling me that we need to be, just because the players are 8, 5, and 9, like Rashford and Son, that we're still going to be using our transfers to go off and on based on the. But I'm looking at my team and I don't have anyone less than A5, in my midfield. So, what kind of glue do I really need? Like,
I look at someone like Wissa or / Bumo, right? Like that to me is like I'm happy to just hold that guy, right? Like Bumo on pens, move to a midfielder, like blah, blah, blah. I feel confident. I don't need to touch that. I'd rather make my move on, Rashford than whoever is competing in that position or something. But yeah. No, I hear you.
But definitely pricing. Too, right? There's a player like Bumo who has a lot going for him, or Wissa, while Tony's gone. Yeah. And you don't conceivably need to really think about that for a while.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And that does make it, again, that goes back to like having Mo, right? I have the same team. I just put Mo and Bumo instead of like Rashford and Son.
Right.
That's a 2 versus 2. It's like, I don't have to, they will get there eventually. But.
I guess Botman also is like part of this discussion in terms of like glue, right? There's a 4-5. Okay, he's not the cheapest in the game, but he's right in there, and he's on a top 7 team at worst.
Yeah.
And he's nailed. It's like, this is a guy you can never start, but he just, auto subs, you start him in bankers, whatever. You never need to use a transfer on this guy.
Yeah, the issue with Botman that I find is just they have home Villa first game week is the best fixture they have until game week 5, and it's just if you're just getting a 4-5 defender to shield your bench, I think Botman after that point is definitely startable though, because they were cleaning their lives away.
Yeah, Brentford, starting game week 5, home Brentford, at Sheffield, home Burnley, at West Ham, home Palace, at Wolves. Insane.
Yeah, run. Non-top 4. In home Villa, you probably start him. Let's be honest. You probably start him in that game. But Botman, definitely. He's a great pick.
He's just a mistake. I can't believe he's 4-5. It's fucking insane.
Yeah. I wonder if they thought they were going to add someone and he was going to be, he's a
maybe they know something we don't, and they're just going to swoop in for Gvardiol or something like that, I don't know. And just Saudi their lives away and just chop everyone's heads off.
Yeah, and Botman, I don't know how he scored 0 goals last year, but I feel like he should have goals in him. He's he does. Monster.
He wins headers. Yeah, he gets in there. Fucking
So what do you think about Spurs? Because we haven't touched on them. I more just put Son in because I was just like, that's a mistake. He shouldn't be 9. That's it. That's the only reason.
I think good 9 is actually kind of fine for him, to be honest. Off the worst year of his career, maybe hitting a cliff a little bit. Although after the season, we learned that he had like a hernia all year.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that.
What to make of that is, we were watching all season, like, what's wrong with him? We were saying that all year. Like, we're watching, like, why can't he do anything? Yeah, he's fucking at a hernia.
And then he like breaks his face. Was that this year before the World Cup?
With the mask?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know that much about Ange. I'm going to learn a lot more about him in the next month. I'm disappointed that he's probably going to be in a back 4. So Porro, I don't really think is an option. I think their defense looks bad, even though I like Vicario. Matto at 7 is interesting. 7-5 is interesting for sure. Don't really know where he's going to play or how they're going to play. Is he just going to play like sort of behind Son Kane? Is he going to sort of do some wingery stuff? I don't really know, but he's been fantasy relevant since day 1 in the Prem, right? He just gets returns.
Yeah.
And they're going to play like an aggressive, high pressing style. He's going to get chances. So I think he's interesting, but I haven't really considered starting with anyone.
Yeah. We still don't know what's up with Kane.
Yeah, well, also there's a world where Kane goes, they don't buy a striker, and it's just like, holy fucking shit. There's actually a lot of guys like Rich, who's now, he's like a 7 midfielder who could just literally break the game if Kane gets sold and then I'll buy someone.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys who could break the game that I was just noticing when I was just like scrolling through. It's like Balogun is 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're up to there, but he's been
In
linked
what
to 0
world
Premier League
is he
team.
4-5?
I know.
But I'm just saying, like, he could just go to fucking Brentford.
Everton.
Forest.
Sure.
Whatever the fuck.
Insert any club bottom 12
any
here.
club.
Wolves.
Burnley.
Well, maybe not Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves have no players.
They wouldn't know what to do with
West
them.
Ham.
Yeah. Spend that 100 mil.
And then all of a sudden it's just like instant in every team.
Every team. Yeah.
Auto. Like DCL 6. I mean, hey, people have been mentioning Gusto to me. Apparently he's really fucking highly rated. Process 4-0 on Chelsea. There's all these random. They just half-assed it, I think.
Well, the other aspect to this is they released the game too early. They used to release the game.
No fucking kidding. That's why my
don't
whole thing at the beginning of the pod was like, I just can't fucking be bothered.
Yeah, no, I mean, they didn't used to release the game over a month before. It's like...
They have some new marketing team who's like, we're going to build the hype cycle for a month straight. Yeah. New reveal every day, new team from all these. It's like, dude, I'm already not interested. I already don't want to look at anything.
Yeah,
Tell me when preseason starts.
We're old and jaded.
We're just fucking pieces of shit. Yeah.
We're pieces of fucking
I'm definitely
dog
jaded.
Shit.
And I can't wait to get into like how we do our preseason content. But what the new world is of preseason?
Yeah, tell me about it because I am not unaware. What is it?
I should just pull up YouTube and just read you like the latest and like
oh my god,
FPL thumbnails. First draft, FPL's best underpriced players, fucking best 5 million defenders, a team reveal with every different like professional famous person's team, perfect game week 1 draft, another team reveal, rating so-and-so's first draft, another team reveal. It's just like,
dude, it is so fucking perverse.
This?
It's
what
like,
is
this? Like we are fucking idiots, you and I. We are absolute dumb idiots.
Why is
like
that?
We watch football and we just talk fucking whatever we're doing.
Yes.
These people get like everyone else that do the thing that make their podcasts, whatever. They're just like us. They're fucking idiots, and they just play this fucking dumbass game. And everyone's like hanging on their every word. It's like, what is going on? And then they don't know. The problem, they don't talk about football. They just talk about
never ever.
How you're not like learning anything about anything, or it doesn't inspire you to think about anything differently. You're just being spoon fed. Like these are the stats, so get this player. It's like, what's going on? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, like. It used to be, I need someone who's 4-5. Let me get nasty. Let me shut the lights off, get the lube, get the tissues, and see who's available. And just click around and click some buttons and talk yourself into fucking Justin Kluivert on Bournemouth. And you're just like, this could actually be a fucking...
If he was 12-5, we'd be talking.
I mean, he's in my
extensively.
Team, obviously. But like now it's just people just go to fucking YouTube and are like, who are the best 5 and under players? And they're just like, oh, this guy's the best. Get him in. Yeah. And it's like, God damn it. What are you playing for? What's the fucking point of you playing?
So what do you I didn't even consider that you had made a team yet. What do you have?
I haven't made a team. I just have a couple guys.
Who are your guys?
Well, the guys I've been playing most with are obviously Haaland has been in. Wissa, I keep just finding a place for. I think 6 is just ridiculous. It's just like really ridiculous. Ollie's been in a lot. I mean, Mo's been in and out. I don't really know. I haven't made a full team, so I haven't really like done full tinkers where I'm like, oh, I can't afford this. And all of a sudden, like I said before, Bruno's been in a lot. Kluivert, I just love. I mean, I'm a cherry and I love him, and I just think it's a perfect fit. And I'm just
they
like,
have such bad fixtures is the only issue.
Yeah, no,
he's not going to make the cut.
He won't make the cut, but like I love what I'm hearing about their new manager. I love my cherries. I love the players around him. Blah blah blah. I think Cash is great. I mean, 4 or 5 cash is kind of ridiculous, I think.
He's similar to Botman to me. You know, assuming that they don't somehow replace Cash.
Nah, they're not going to replace Cash. He's just going to be nailed, starting every game at right back. And, Trent's been in my team. And then, I mean, like you mentioned all the 4-5s that I've been looking at. I don't think there's even any other ones that I've been really playing with. But, those are just some of the guys that I've been playing with. But I don't really have a tinker. I don't have a team. It's just like sort of names, And then there, Liverpool guys I like want to pick. And then it just... Again, same problem as sort of the end of last season. It's like, oh, well, there's 6 guys for these 2 spots. So probably not going to pick any of these guys.
It's just...
What the fuck are we doing? I have no idea who's going to play any of these positions. But they're all cheap. They're all fucking cheap.
Yeah, other than Mo and Trent.
Other than Mo. Yeah, so like someone might emerge, but don't know.
Kanate's interesting to me.
Kanate's interesting. I literally think all of Jota, Diaz, Darwin, Gakpo are all interesting, and probably at least one of them will be in our teams. But
we just need some injuries.
Yeah, which usually happen. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the Mo and Haaland, do you have any thoughts on that?
At this point, no, just because I haven't tinkered enough to be like, oh, you can't make a good team. I think you can easily make a good team.
It's very easy to do that.
It's very easy. I don't know what the big deal is. And I think Mo's an interesting one to just kind of hypothesize about, right? He's off the worst season of his career. He's on the wrong side of 30. Numbers are down. Are we seeing like the end, or was that more a result of Liverpool just being bad, or a little bit of both, which is probably the case? And then like projecting to this season, it's like obviously the right side is refreshed with Shobo. McAllister is going to help the team a lot, help the midfield a lot. The forwards are healthy, which they weren't last season. Trent in midfield unlocked him a lot. And it's like, what does that mean for him this season? I think he's just probably going to have a really good season again, right? I mean, if we're just talking like ballpark projections, he has the worst season of his career and a really bad leave season. Yeah, he missed 2 pens, worst season of his career, worst Liverpool season in 6 years, and it's 239 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no mistake just from watching him that he's not as good as he used to be, period.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I think that...
He can't do the same things he used to be able to do.
That's different than being not as good. Because I think he just does other stuff.
Well, yeah. So that's where I was going to go with is that, I think Klopp, like you saw he kept having him do the things that he usually could do and he couldn't. In these ISOs, he just can't beat anyone in their dribble anymore. Like he used to just rinse players and ghost past players and get the ball at the halfway line one-on-one and just fly past the fullback with the dribbling the ball. And he just can't do that anymore. And I think getting Soberslai in and, looking at Trent pushing up that triangle and getting Hendo away from that area is a concession to he can't occupy 3 players anymore. And be prolific as he used to be, kind of thing. So,
I think that it's almost more of like there's a world where he's more of an inside forward than he's ever been.
Yeah, that's
because
possible.
Sobo goes wide, Trent fills the sort of like midfield space that Sobo was occupying, and Mo's just inside all the time. He's just in the box all the time on his left foot, and just like
that's possible.
That's like what I imagine why the Sobo signing like fits so well. And why I'm so happy about it is like the athleticism, the versatility of being like half winger, half 8, the pressing, like all that shit. And so Mo's really interesting. Really weird one.
Yeah, he's still an amazing pick. I mean, he's going to hit 250 range of points like he always does.
Yeah.
It's, again, though, to me is,
Are we capping it?
Yeah, it's value, right? The game is mostly about value, and what value is there in having 26.5 million on 2 spots? With the granted, the sacrifices to do that are not as drastic as they should be because of the pricing. Fine, that's fair. We can say that out of hand, but I mean, when are you captaining? Like you do the little captain thing, you go back and forth, and that's probably about it.
Yeah.
for the foreseeable. You know, I mean, they don't, you know, I mean, they have a couple, you know, they have game week 4, they have a home Villa, which is, you know, probably a tough one, while they're home Fulham, you know, home Fulham and home Forest for Haaland versus home Villa and home, who live in 6, whatever, someone, anyway, it doesn't matter, but it's not, you know, the fixtures didn't line up where it's like, oh, actually, you know, you could captain, you know, Mo
2
for
or 3
3
of the first 6 or something. Yeah.
That said, you know, another side of this coin is, say Haaland is playing for Real Madrid, and you looked at Mo's opening fixtures, you captain him every game week. You know, maybe at Newcastle you'll want to look away, you know, but at Chelsea with that, you know, who knows who's going to be playing that game.
Who knows?
Fine. Home Bournemouth, you know, home Villa, at Wolves, home West Ham. You know, those are all Mo cap games.
Pre-Haaland, he's in 60% of teams.
He's in
captained
80%
every
of teams. Yeah. What do you do with that? I don't know, but I'm just posing different thoughts and ideas of, right?
That's why he's so like interesting in FPL sense, right? And even last year, again, worst season of his career, worst Liverpool season in 6 years. He still started the season just like Mo.
Yeah.
Just like Mo. You know, first 4 or 5 games, he had 2 goals, 2 assists, just returning, like whatever. Like at that point, you know, and he fucking blanked in the 9-0 against Bournemouth. But at that point, at like early at game week 4, 5, 6, we weren't like, we were just like, Liverpool are kind of having a weird slow start. Oh, never mind, they beat the shit out of Bournemouth. Oh, then they beat Newcastle. Oh, Mo's returning every other game. Like, normal, right? And it's just like, and then you look at how Liverpool ended the season, just winning most games. Mo returning literally every game, many double-digit returns, and it's like I feel like that's maybe more reflective. So I don't know. As of now, he's looking like in my team, but it's. I don't disagree with you what you said earlier about like the 5 mids that you have in. It's like those are the mispriced guys. Those are the most egregious mispricings.
I mean, Mo's not mispriced. This is a question of, you know, who are you captaining? Yes. Who are you pushing your chips in on your captaincy? Yeah. And, you know, you have to look at Mo versus Haaland, really. Or it is both, and you're happy enough with the 6'5" guys, and you're happy to do that because you think that's funny, better. Though? You know, I don't know.
It's not that dissimilar to Kane last season.
Which one?
Mo this season. Right. So Kane last season, in 20-ish% of the teams, not in our teams at all, finishes on 250 points. What do we say in the postmortem? That was obviously a mistake. We should have just found a way to get him because he scored 250 points and returns every week. Yeah. We're going into the season knowing that Mo's floor is 250 and his ceiling is 300. His floor is 230 and his ceiling is 300. You know, and we're still being like, I don't know, right? But like, we kind of know he should probably be in our teams, right? Like, that's a lot of points, and we're not going to hit every other pick. So that's kind of where I'm at for now.
No, that makes sense. I think it's more of like, we are also looking at a smattering of players we think are 200-point players.
Yes,
and you're getting all of those in. You know, how many 200-point players are there going to be of the 6'5" mids? 0.
Right.
Probably. You know what I mean? Right. Last year we had the Arsenal ones, which were, really
we had
gross
Odegaard,
outliers.
Saka, Martinelli was 2 points. I was basically 200. Yeah. Rashford and Mo were the 200-point mids.
Yeah. And, we're being hyperbolic by the 200 mark, but, generally 200 range, the best mids in the game get there. And the next level are, in the 160, 170 range, which is, really like, to me, like the best cases for players like Eze or Bumo or,
that's the way upper tier for them.
Gibbs White, Bowen, whoever, there's a bunch of guys in that bracket. So, it isn't as, I think, reductive of just saying, oh yeah, well, Mo's going to get 250. We're saying the same thing about Haaland. So it's like the other players matter a lot in the equation is basically what I'm saying too. So it's tough. That's a tough one. That's the decision that we're all going to have to make.
It's just so easy in preseason to talk yourself into, well, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli are 200-point players. Rash and Bruno are 200-point players. Son's going to bounce back, 200-point player. Yada, 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 yada. And everyone ends up with a no-mo draft. When in reality, 2 or 3 are probably 200-point players, and we don't know which ones yet, and the others probably aren't.
Yeah.
And Mo is.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, where I'm going to be a month from now, absolutely no fucking idea.
No,
absolutely
no idea.
Not even a remote clue. I haven't even made a single tinker.
Absolutely no idea. I mean, we could be sitting here with Kane, Mo, and Haaland.
Yeah, like fucking no.
That wouldn't surprise me either.
No clue. All I know is I'm not going to have Wolves players. Good God.
Yeah, no, that is a dead cert. We know that for sure.
How many Luton players are you going to have?
Well, that Bell 4 million guy.
Bell.
I don't even know what he looks like, but
I saw he scored for Jamaica. I think so. That's a good job by him.
Yeah, the Mo question, because I think there's also no Haaland and Mo. I mean that's
Wait, no, neither of them.
No, just have Mo and don't have Haaland.
Oh my God! Right.
I mean, because
if we're talking about value.
Yeah.
The question is, and I ask this every year, and I don't know if there's actually an answer to this question. That's probably why I ask every year. But what is actually 1.5 million worth in points? And is Haaland going to score 1.5 million more than Mo?
Yeah, it's no. The problem is we do the thing that we always do at this time, which is talk about the player over the course of the whole season, thinking we get more transfers.
Oh my God! Thank God you brought this up. Yeah, right. Like our whole Game Week 1 team set and forget. Whereas we're actually going to be making triple move in Game Week 3 with a hit, right?
I mean that's
and we're going to be wild carding in Game Week 6.
Yeah, that's the simple truth of it. So I mean, it could be as simplistic as it's actually more important to just have Mo for captain Game Week 2.
Yeah.
And have both. Right. And that's the most important thing. And then just wild card or patch it over, figure it out, the wrongs.
And he starts every season so ridiculously hot. Yeah. And just bank on that as a sure thing. Figure out which Man United guy is the best pick, which Arsenal guys look the best, where's Kai playing, is Son back, is Kane in the team? Figure out all the unknowns.
Because what happens? Game Week 1 transpires. Haaland gets, 12 points. Fine.
Yeah.
Classic.
At Burnley. Easy win.
Classic hairling. Mo gets, a goal, misses a big chance, at the bridge.
Also classic.
Looks great. Classic. Gets bonus, gets 9 or 10. And you're sitting there with Mo home Bournemouth. And you have to captain Haaland home Newcastle, and you're like, that could be could be a huge swing.
That could be a humongous swing, especially because for the literal first time since he was a new player on Liverpool, he's a little bit differentially.
Yeah. I mean, he's usually the highest owned player in the game for the last 4 years.
He's less owned than fucking Bumo.
Yeah. So
that,
you want to think about that. If Mo blanks Game Week 1, what does that even? That doesn't mean anything. But just thinking about going into Game Week 2, thinking about not having Mo for home Bournemouth captain doesn't feel tremendous.
Yeah. I want that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Oh my God.
That's probably a good place to stop, right?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Good pod.
I mean, we don't know what the fuck are we even talking about. The game is so far away.
Dude, we're chatting.
Chatting shit.
We're chatting FPL shit.
Chatting FPL, man. Chatting FPL shit. Asses to slap. New Patreon signups. Good job by them. They're not going to get ads. We got David, Peter Featherstone, Jonathan Cohen, Matthew, Mike Wellman, Bedhead. Garden there, baby. Slap that ass.
Also, new year, new people listening. Our Patreon, obviously we make fun of everyone, including ourselves as much as we feel like, but it is what keeps the pod going. Yeah. We have our Discord, which is active pretty much around the clock. Good community of people in there who like to make fun of the FPL community. So if that's your thing, we're your people.
You found the right pod.
You found the right pod. So, any support we get from there, obviously we really appreciate, and we love you guys, even though we also hate you guys.
Absolutely. Any on that bright note? Any last words?
See you tomorrow, baby.
I'll see you tomorrow, baby. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL Sports Beach.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review, and cheers.